Haribol. So we're into the 28th day of our Kartik Parikrama, and by the mercy of the Lord, we haven't experienced practically any difficulties in our transmission from here, except the health of the devotees. But otherwise, everything has been very supported by Purnamasi Devi and the potency of Srimati Radhika. So today, the main parikrama, they're going to Sri Dauji across the river again, and Brahmandgat, and what's that next one? Oh, Mahavan and Gokul, Ravat and Lohavan. Raval and Lohavan. Very, very beautiful, open-spaced type of parikrama. Brahmandgat is very oceanic. The Jamuna comes right there in a very accessible way with a huge gut beside it. All the devotees regularly, they'll bathe there, the whole parikrama party. 1,000 people will take bath easily, comfortably at a time, because there's lots of sort of space. And then we wander through and we go to the place where the where Krishna was bound to the grinding mortar. They have the actual pot that he broke. It's right there just before we get to Gokul. Then Gokul itself is a flood of pastimes, Putana, etc. And Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir is there. Very, very wonderful place. And that's all in Mahavan, in Gokul. And then there's Raval, which is close by, 7 or 8 kilometers, which is really exquisite, beautiful, white-colored temple in the greenery of big trees. And there's a beautiful park or like garden, ornamental garden close by. And it's just a very, very extremely sattvic type of mood that's there in Raval. And just a small temple, not a big one. And we would sit there in the courtyard with my Gurudev and hear all the different pastimes. And then Lohavan itself, which is connected more with the sages like Durvasa Rishi, Parashara Rishi, Vyasadeva. They have their ashrams in Lohavan. Originally it was the Mura demon who was killed there by Krishna. But that's a very beautiful place too, with a big lake and wonderful atmosphere. When you travel for the whole month in Kartik through all these extremely potent pastime places, you're always seeing green trees and brown soil. And when you close your eyes after a month, all you see is blue and green, blue sky, green trees and brown soil. So it makes a deep impression into the consciousness, and the simplicity of the landscape without all the towering condominiums and so on that we get cluttered up in the big cities and the big roadways and freeways is very peaceful, just for the general mentality of the Western devotees in particular traveling to Braj. It's a very rural mood to pick up the speciality and beauty of Sri Vrindavan Dham, which is the whole backdrop of all of Krishna's pastimes. So when we go and visit all these royal holy places, we catch the atmosphere, the bhav, the mood. And if we're with someone who's experienced in rasa, we hear all those higher topics also. But we are discussing this Dambanda Lila, which is so exalted and sweet and special. So we'll continue with that discussion. In a moment, we'll have our kirtan, and then we'll dive straight into... today also, we can all say a prayer for the final destination of our dear friend, Lokasharanya Maharaj, who got his name from Srila Bhakti Swarup. What's his name? The one who wrote the books. The ISKCON devotee, right at the very beginning with Prabhupada. Swarup? No. Satsvarup, thank you. Sorry. Satsvarup Maharaj gave him the name Lokasharanya. And Srila Pramod Puri Maharaj gave him the name Parvat Maharaj, because he spent more than half his life practically in Govardhan, particularly Radha Kund. And he was completely dedicated to serving his Prabhupada here in Radha Kund. So if you go towards Kusum Sarovar from Radha Kund, it's probably 3/4 of a kilometer from Radha Kund, and you take a right and you go into the forest a little bit, and there's a house there, and that was his ashram. And he's made a very beautiful temple there with a beautiful murti of Srila Prabhupada. And he would play 24-hour-a-day kirtans of Srila Prabhupada would be coming out from the temple. And a few months ago, he broke both his legs. He had a fall from his loft, yeah. So he was completely incapacitated. And the devotees, they found this out and took him to because he's a Prabhupada disciple, took him to the hospice in Vrindavan. And many devotees came to see him. And then he had prostate cancer at the same time. And they tried to help with that. They had to put I think it's called a catheter. What's it called? Yes, when it empties by itself. Because that was his problem with the broken legs, how to go to the bathroom all the time. And they took something like 4 liters of urine out of his bladder, out of his stomach rather, when they got him there. So he was very relieved of all that. But still, the fear, I think, of surviving in this environment of Radhakund without proper permanent use of his legs, because he would always walk the couple of kilometers up and down, then he just began to fast. And he was always very skinny his whole life. He would practice austerities, just drinking milk for years alone, and was very invigorated by that. His consciousness was always high. I can remember in 1990, we both took a vow together to chant more rounds. We're very good friends. But he was more like a yogi, actually, in his practices. And he was very inclined to my Gurudev, and especially Srila Pramod Puri Maharaj. And just right now, as we're speaking, his body is being cremated just behind us. So all glories to Sri Lokasharanya Maharaj or Sri Parvat Maharaj. He left at 9 a.m. this morning, which would indicate something like Prata Lila or coming into Purvana Lila, which is more in association with the Sakka's pastimes. So we don't want to speculate on his, but still the time gives some type of indication where that soul may have aspired for. And by the mercy of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in particular, who has directly told all his shishyas that he will never leave them at any time, he will empower him to the most fortunate conclusion of his sojourn. So Srila Bhakti, Srila Lokasharanya Maharaj ki jai, Srila Parvat Maharaj ki jai, Srila Pramod Puri Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everyone has to be associated. What is our association? What are our links? That's what we always consider most prominently, because that's our only shelter, is our Guru Varga. Okay. Namamishvaram Satchit Ananda Rupam Lasakudam Gokule Brajamalam Yashoda Vyomakalatam Param Vishvam Atyanta Rudacharya Rudanta Mukunditra Adyantam Adyapayantam Hare Sita Yesu Bhakti-Jitapa Purna Prema-Dastam Sada Vikrimante Varam Deva Moksha Moksha Madhimva Nachanyam Vine Hamba Visharapira Idam Te Mapurana Gopayamala Sarame Masasya Virasantimane Idam Te Muktam Mojana Vritam Kundale Sinaram Tashalokya Mohusumbitam Bilbaratarame Manasya Vigrastam Malam Nachalame Namo Deva Namo Dayananta Vishnu Prasida Brahmo Jalam Vimarma Kripadristi Vishyati Dinam Bhatanu Radhani Shama Adya Ekashadrishya Kuber Amajavada Mutyaiva Yadva Payam Mochita Bhakti Vajravinocha Tata Prema Bhakti Swakam Vikryacha Namo Shri Radhesti Damodarena Namaste Sutame Spuradikidame Paviyodayata Vishwasyaname Namo Radhikaya Padiyapriyaya Namo Natalivaya Devaya Turyam Namo Radhikaya Padiyapriyaya Namo Natalivaya Devaya Turyam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Oh Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jaya Nityananda Rai Jaya Oh Jaya Sachi Nandan
Jaya Gaura Hari Oh Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Oh Radhe 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 Radhe
Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhavaka Giridhari Radha Damodar Ju Ki Jai Shri Radha Govinda Dev Ki Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Vedanta Acharya Ki Jai Jai Rasik Siramani Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parasada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikha Hosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Anta Dweep Mayapur Simanta Dweep Gautram Dweep Madhya Dweep Kola Dweep Ritu Dweep Jana Dweep Modan Dweep Rudu Dweep Apakanava Dweep Tham Ki Jai Badravan Bandiravan Belvan Lohavan Mahavan Madhuvan Talvan Kamudvan Bahulavan Vrindavan Kadiyavan Kamyavan Brajamandal Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Guru Jai Shri Shri Gopa Govardhan Vadasvar Matmika Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Yogmaya Punamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Kundeshwara Mahadev Ki Jai Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai Ketramandal Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vinasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charidam Ki Jai Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai Chari Acharya Ki Jai Akara Matraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Shwapatantikam Priya Swarupe Dayata Swarupe Prema Swarupe Sahajabi Rupe Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Svavilasa Rupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavartino Kalo, Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundaradu Dikatam Basadipita, Sadakrikare Kanare Spadatu Sachinandanaha, Yam Prabhajanta Manapetyam Apeti Krityam, Vaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava, Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Benidus, Tam Sarabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi, Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay, Shibtasya Karmadi Tarangamadhyam, Kripamay Tvam Sharanam Prabha, Vrinde Namaste Charanada Vrindam. Ajami Radham Aravinda Netra Snarami Radham. He's throwing stones at the kids now because they just get louder and louder when you chastise them. Brisbasi kids, they're not used to being chastised like that, but now they're getting rocks thrown at them, so they're running away. Ajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhuna Smitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradam Tatoma Manastikatiana Kapi. We should let the kids just play. You know, it's their world. They have their play. Thank you, Jai. Tavaivasmi, najivami tvaivina, iti vignaya radhe tvam nayavam charanatikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandava pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nityalila Pravishta Om, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our illustrious Rupana Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord. My Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvivacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavena Namaha. It's the nature of children to play, like Krishna. Huh? Oh. Okay. So today, by most amazing fortune, we've reached the final verse, verse 8 of this remarkable epic Damodarastakam. As we've read through, we've seen the unfoldment of all the different barbs, stai barbs escalating all the way through, surrounded by potent siddhanta and tattva the whole way through, holding us carefully to the path to desire Radha Dasyam. Ultimately, this verse is going to inspire us towards that direction completely. Because now Satyabrat Muni, his final conclusion is to take shelter of Sri Radhika. So this is remarkable, this is very potent, powerful. So both the Acharyas, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad, and my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, are opening this out in a very significant way. So this Namaste Stu Damne Spura Dipti Damne. O Damodar, I offer my respectful obeisances to the celebrated rope binding your belly. Everything is with full honor and respect. He's offering the rope. It keeps it a completely sattvic state of consciousness. Your belly, it is an abode of brilliant effulgence. I offer my respectful obeisances to your belly, which supports the entire universe of moving and non-moving entities. I offer my respectful obeisances again and again to Srimati Radhika, your most beloved, and I offer my respectful obeisances to you, my divine Lord, who performs unlimited transcendental pastimes. So then there's the Digdarshani Tika of Sanatan Goswami in Sanskrit, so we'll leave that. And now we come to the Digdarshani Tika Bhavanuvad by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Now in this verse, beginning with Namaste Stu, Sri Satyabrat Muni concludes his prayers, either for the purpose of attaining his cherished goal, or else due to the exuberance of the uncommonly excellent form of bhakti that has arisen in his heart. So we know bhakti is already present in the heart. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavsa sadhanava nitya siddhyasya. Nitya siddhyasya means eternal. Nitya siddhyasya bhavasya prakatam riti sadhyate, in potential. Now this potentiality is rising in his heart. This is what happens. When the udipans, the inspiration, comes sufficiently powerfully through our connection with the spiritual reality, through Guru, through the mercy of Vaishnavas, and through Hari, when this atmosphere in the consciousness becomes cleansed, then the bhakti that is inherent within all of us, what's that, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem? Sadhya Kabinoy, Shravanadi, Surasattva, Doi. This is a dormant potential within all jivas, so it's rising in the heart of Satyabrat Muni. But what type of bhakti is the fascinating topic, because every single individual will have a different, slight appreciation of their relationship with Radha and Krishna. There's no two jivas in existence that have exactly the same relationship. It's absolutely unique to the individual. There's no groups. You could have a similar mood as so many people, svajatiya. We say this expression for association, svajatiya snigdha ashraya. Same jat, same group, but your actual individual connection is utterly unique, and that's what Krishna wants to taste. Krishna's hungry to taste that taste of sweet devotion. He offers separate, respectful obeisances to the extraordinary rope binding Sri Bhagavan's waist, to his bodily limbs and to his associates. So three things: his waist, his bodily. The sage says, I offer my respectful obeisances to the wondrous rope binding your waist. What is that rope like? Considering this question, he adds, it is the abode or refuge of all splendid effulgence. In other words, it's the Brahmajyoti, which takes the form of that rope, because that Brahmajyoti is encircling all the Brahmand, right? That's what's encircling the Brahmand, is the Brahmajyoti. What is the quality of the Brahmajyoti? Huh? What's it called? Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti. There's no Sandini Shakti. What does Sandini Shakti mean? Existence. There's no existence in the Brahmand. There's only knowledge and vairagya. These two qualities. Krishna has 6 qualities. There's beauty and fame, wealth, strength, and jnana and vairagya. These 2 qualities at the end, they're not direct attributes of a person. Like beauty is an attribute. You can see it, it's tangible. Strength, fame, Strength, fame, opulence. These are direct qualities or attributes of a personality. Who is famous? You have to have a personality who's famous. You have to have a person who's opulent. You have to have a person who's strong. But knowledge itself, you can find in a library. It has an impersonal aspect to it, which is why the Brahmajyoti is that place of impersonalists. A jnani is going to the impersonal zone. And vairagya, renunciation, is a negative quality. It's not a positive quality. It's not something with a big plus sign, renunciation. It doesn't endear or soften the heart. Actually, it makes the heart hard. If you practice renunciation without guidance, just for the sake of renunciation, that's not going to attract Krishna at all. We described on Ekadashi yesterday, the stones and sticks, they fast also. It's not that they have bhakti because they're fasting, but they're running fast to Krishna, to the objective, seva. So, what is the abode or refuge of all splendid effulgence? Here, he intends to establish that due to being replete with unlimited effulgence, this extraordinary rope consists of the very nature of concentrated Brahm. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he always translates this as Brahmajyoti or Brahman, because in many places the Brahm is considered to be the entirety of the cosmic creation, which includes Sat, Chit, Ananda. It includes all. When you say Brahm, sometimes you can referring to everything, and other times it's just the singular Brahmajyoti. So it's kind of like interchangeable, so it can get confusing. So Prabhupada, everything about Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was to not confuse us with extra Sanskrit, because we're already challenged with the whole change of consciousness into appreciating God is even a person. We start off with that, and then not only that, ultimately, he's a person who's controlled by his Shakti. So we have to go through quite a few revolutions. It's a mental thing to have it successful. It has to come in the heart. It's the heart that has to accept these profound truths with shraddha. We can say the words if it's just with the mind, but that's not going to carry us through. It's when the heart, the feelings are captured of the reality of these truths. Then we'll live in that truth forever. But if it's just gyan, we'll slip in and out of it very easily. Any distraction will just take us away. And there's so much distraction for us. So we have to be cautious. What is the biggest distraction? Karma esha, krodha esha, rajaguna samudvaha, mahashanu mahapapma, evam, vidi, evam, iha, varyam. Varyam means enemy. The greatest enemy of mankind in the conditioned world is lust, and lust alone. Born from this rajagun, mode of passion. And to control this is the greatest challenge for humanity. Lust in all areas, gross and subtle. Gross in the material world to satisfy the senses, and subtle in the form of fame, adoration, and distinction. Very difficult. How do we combat this? We read, Bhukti Mukti Spriha Javat, Pischachi, Kriti Vartate. These two witches, Raghunath Das describes, are holding the jiva's heart. They're dancing like a prostitute in the heart of the jiva, wanting to enjoy matter. Remembrances of Srila Gopi Shodas Babaji yesterday, completely detached from any type of interaction with the material world at all. He demonstrated, the same as Raghunath Das Goswami. They demonstrated this very strongly, this vairagya, this total detachment. But how does that detachment come? Param drisva nivartante, by the higher taste. Not that you sit and just try to purify that. Then you'll just get, my Gurudev said one time, someone asked him on a morning walk, we were walking in Maulambar, I remember distinctly, and the sun was just rising. It was actually Govinda Bhakkata, who was Ashram Maharaj now. He asked my Gurudev, should we think of our anarthas while we're chanting? And my Gurudev jumped, very energetically said, never! If you think of your anarthas while you're chanting, more will come. Just like a ghost, if you start talking about ghosts, more ghosts will come. So what is the process? Vacho Vegam? Yes. Rupa Goswami has given in Upadeshamrita. Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Parsa Vegam, Eitan Vegam, Yovisha Hetira, Sarvam Apiman, Di Shishyate. And he reaches the 8th verse, the conclusion. That's the beginning. That's what's called the Tatashta Lakshan, the negative aspect. But the positive aspect is tannama rupa chiritadi sukirtana smityu kramana rasana misidyoja tishtem braje tanu ragi janugami kalam nayam akilam iti upadesharam. This is the essence of all advice. So we have the whole roadmap. The enemy, lust, vairanyam. We're all culprits. But this is the principal stumbling block of all sadhaks in the material world. Lust on all, but we're all like custom made to the special attractions, the individual attractions that each person has. And they can be different. But if it's even attachment or attraction to sleeping and eating, we spoke the other day, that comes under the same umbrella, ultimately, of lust. Wanting something for the material body. So we have to rise above the material body. Today I had a beautiful pastime I'll share with you. My dear friend Tapasvi Maharaj came today and he was describing the departure of another great dear friend, Yashodanandan Prabhu, in England. And he was right beside him the whole time. And when the palliative nurse came in, she understood that he only had a couple of days left to live. And she asked him directly, "Are you ready to leave?" And he thought for about it, and he said, "Yes, I'm ready to leave," which means ready to give up the subtle body. And at that moment, Tapasvi Maharaj realized that he was not actually getting influence from the various medications that had been given to him. He was actually sitting above it because he had cancer. And in the last stages, they gave him morphine. But he was above the morphine. His consciousness was clear and above the morphine. And by the mercy of my Gurudev, when he actually took his last breath, my friend Tapasvi Maharaj realized he had left very, very quickly. It's very auspicious to leave your body quickly if it doesn't linger around the material body. But very, very quickly he left because he wasn't actually in the body anymore. He had cut his ties through his practices, etc. And principally, the mercy of my Gurudev. This is always the principal factor. He gave his life, in the last few years of his life, absolutely dedicated to Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And his teachings and his practice. He used to have, I think, he'd ring me up and tell me, I'm having like 18 classes a week or something, 19 classes a week. He was giving and attending and so many, he was so enthusiastic, determined. And then he did those Zoom meetings, we remember, in COVID times. Everything was locked down. And he just came in there like a rocket and joined everyone together. And he had an ambition. He's a very ambitious person. He wanted to inspire 1 billion names to be chanted in a day on the planet. That was his ambition. He was a billionaire at one point, and he gave so much of his wealth to the Keshavji Gaudiya Math. But he had this ambition, big ambition. So in the Zoom program, he actually almost achieved that because he had the whole planet connected for the whole 24 hours of the day. And that took a lot of effort. I would have many conversations about this devotee. He's trying to make this one the spokesman in this country and that country, and the timing and the meticulous sort of connection with everybody so it would be seamless. And he worked practically 24 hours a day. He'd be sitting there sometimes and he'd just drop off and go to sleep while he was actually listening. But he gave his life and soul. We only have to do that, as described in the 11th canto, one time to Krishna. If one time in our life we fully surrender that Sharanagat to the desire of Guru, Krishna can never forget that impression, that act of the Shishya. So he did that. And somehow at his passing, he had managed to cut the subtle connection, which is what we're talking about. What is that subtle connection? Any type of desire to take pleasure in the material world, but not to focus on it. That's called anartha nivritti. Our path is artha, wealth, pravriti. What is the positive wealth? What is the jewel? And we're going to come to a beautiful explanation here about Leela, and this will put it in context. Now, where are we up to?
Concentrate on Brahm.
The sage continues.
Oh, yes. The sage continues. Next, I offer my obeisances to your belly, because your beauty and your Vatsalya Lila only manifest in matchless magnificence when your belly is bound by rope in this way. What is your belly like? The sage says. Your belly is the basis of the entire universe, consisting of all created beings, both moving and non-moving, everything in existence. In fact, the lotus of the 14 planetary systems arose from the lotus-like navel in the center of your belly. Furthermore, on 2 occasions, Sri Krishna showed his mother, Sri Yashoda Devi, his Vishwarup or universal form. While enacting his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan, it is therefore clearly understood that simply by binding Sri Krishna's belly, the entire universe becomes bound. In other words, the sage declares that by binding Sri Krishna, Sri Yashoda Devi had in fact brought the entire cosmos under her control. That's mighty, isn't it? To have this awareness brought to us. She brought the entire cosmos under her control because she actually was able to bind Krishna. Krishna softened, his Aishwarya Shakti ran away when he saw her extremity of effort. And we must emulate the same sort of effort to capture Krishna. We spoke yesterday about Mother Yashoda running faster and catching him. We have to learn the route, the enthusiasm, the utsaha, the greed, which is the vital quality of Rag Marg. That's what we're praying for. If that greed arises by the mercy of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, and Nam itself will bestow so much greed. It's like perpetual. We never want to stop chanting, especially at the time of leaving the body. Furthermore, it is impossible to bind the all-pervading, unlimited Lord, but he allowed himself to be bound, thereby displaying his bhakta vatsalya, or his exceptional affection for his devotees. He loves his devotees so much, and yet we sometimes fall into the trap of criticizing Krishna's devotees and try to think, oh, is he a Vaishnava or not? What did Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? He said, who is a Vaishnava? Everyone is a Vaishnava. Some know it and some don't know it. But at heart, everyone is a spirit soul. And every spirit soul has a natural relationship with Krishna. So ultimately, all have the potentiality to achieve that exalted stage of Vaishnavism, Vaishnavata. We practice our whole life absorbing the precepts of the Vaishnavas and how to, hearing about the pastimes of the different personalities, etc., coming to the holy, so many activities we perform here. By logic, it cannot be understood how all the unlimited universes are encompassed within Krishna's belly. It's not rational. Yet even this wonderful belly of his was bound. That's called achintya, chamatkar, astonishing. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says repeatedly in Jayavadhamma, if we can't accept this achintya bhav, we can't go forward. Achintya means the inconceivable. Yes, I don't know. Own up to it. I don't know. Accept that. That requires humility to accept. And if we have that sort of humility, it's a lot easier to cut the subtle connection with this material world when we're leaving. If we've built up some sort of reputation for ourselves and we're considering ourselves someone special in the world, how is that subtle body going to be dissolved? It'll be dissolved when we consider ourselves totally insignificant. Because we are. At the same time, we're mighty servants of the Lord. So it's a dichotomy, we can say. It's two considerations to consider. I am that potency, that has the potency to serve Krishna. At the same time, I'm absolutely insignificant. It's not an easy proposition. It requires strength from Guru. Thus the sage implies here that by allowing himself to be bound, and thereby allowing all the universes to be bound, a pastime completely beyond all logical consideration. That's achintya bhav. And you accept the achintya bhav, yes, that can't be explained. It's inconceivable. Sri Bhagavan displayed his unparalleled opulence and grandeur, Aishwarya. After the sage offers obeisances to the rope, he next offers obeisances to the Lord's belly, thus implying that the rope is resting there. Also, it is implied that he is offering obeisances in order of increasing superiority. So there's the rope, then there's the belly, and then there's the associates. 3 gradations. All the way through, it's going in step by step by step. It's very peaceful to hear the philosophy presented in such a systematic, structured way. Because our rational, conditioned mind will accept that, and when it's accepted it, then it can actually move into the achintya consideration. This is all inconceivable. Yet by higher mercy, I will go in this direction, confidently. At this point, the sage understands that only by the mercy of Sri Bhagavan's loved ones can he attain his cherished goal and that which he cannot even conceive of. This is what we're saying. It's only Krishna's mercy when we've reached that pinnacle of considering the achintya aspect, the astonishing chamatkar aspect. With this understanding, he offers obeisances to Sri Bhagavan's most beloved, Bhagavati Srimati Radhika, by the words Namo Radhikaya. In fact, by offering obeisances to Sri Radhika, the sage actually conveys his obeisances to all the gopis. Radhika is only concerned with Krishna's pleasure. She manifests from her body, the Kaya Vyuha. All these billions of gopis are originating from Sri Radhika with the only intention to bring her beloved more pleasure. It's so beautiful. Radhika Aradhanam, she who worships Krishna more than anyone else. This is who she is. That's why she's called Radha. Or a different understanding is that the sage is offering his pranam to Srimati Radhika alone, because he regards her as the foremost of all gopis. So in 2 considerations, it's not that one is right and one is wrong, they're both right. It's called Vaishishtya. It's like when we were discussing the different gurus yesterday. They're all excellent, and they're all totally unique, and they're all in their own original light. And we should never fall into the ridiculous conception of trying to say, oh, this guru is better than that guru. They are all, it's like the moon. You see the moon. It goes through 16 stages. It's always actually the full moon, but we're seeing a special part of it at a particular junction of the moon, right? That's called Vaishishtya. That's a speciality. It's not about superiority or inferiority. It's about speciality, glorifying the speciality of an individual. Not about what's higher, what's lower specifically. All are high. How can you have the audacity to make a judgment on different personalities, spiritually advanced personalities? We have no reason to go that road. Srila Sanatana Goswami now sheds light on why the sage uses the word Radhika. Sri Radha is constantly immersed in Sri Bhagavan's worship, Aradhana. That is, she is forever wrapped in arousing his pleasure. She's only thinking of Krishna's calm. And all the gopis take on the same mood. They all want to satisfy Krishna's calm. That is their seva. We've just spoken about Raja Vidya, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha is first about lust. And yet here, the pinnacle of this devotion is transcendental lust. And the antithesis in the material world is material lust. Isn't that interesting? It's from one extreme in the spiritual world, and it's abomination in the material world. Because we all are hankering for that material pleasure. Where is its origin coming from? The soul wants to experience the pleasure of service, but it's being misguided by the glitter of the material world to try and take pleasure from any object in the material world, one way or another, every day. Every step we take practically, how will I enjoy in the next 10 minutes? How will I enjoy in the next half an hour? Making plans for our future lives to enjoy our bodies, our wealth, our fame, our reputation, etc. And eventually we die, and then we get another body to do the same thing again. But if we have the fortitude to enter into that subtle connection and purify it, then we can really make some proper use of our lives, substantially. That is, she is forever wrapped in arousing his pleasure. It is through this word alone, Aradhana, that one can understand the profound meaning of Sri Radhika's name. Therefore the sage says to Sri Krishna, Sri Radhika is Tvadiya Priyaya, your most beloved. Did I say that properly? Alternatively, Radhika can be understood by its conventional sense without any consideration of etymology. That means the derivation of the word. In that case, it is understood that the sage says, even without considering her worship, Aradhana, of you, she is simply your Nitya Priya, eternal beloved. She's everything. If you have the fortune to come to Radhakund, you can have direct darshan of Srimati Radhika. Radhakund is direct darshan of Sri Radhika. And if you sit for some time on her banks, she will benedict you with her kripa to appreciate that. She's here in this world. This is the culmination of Upadeshamrita. Rupa Goswami, he's taking us to the same place. Furthermore, the sage says, due to the love of all your devotees, Tvadiya have for you, they are very dear to her. So what can be said about how dear you must be to her? In other words, you are her Nitya Priya, eternal beloved. In this way, the sage proclaiming Srimati Radhika's exceptional love for Sri Krishna. His words can be understood in two ways. I offer my respectful obeisances to you, the beloved of Radhika, or I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Sri Radhika. Whoever loves you is worthy of adoration by the whole universe. Narottam says the same thing. He says, I congratulate those persons who have this nishtha, this bhakti for Krishna. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Sri Radhika. Whoever loves you is worthy of adoration by the whole universe. Therefore, since Sri Radhika is your most beloved, I offer my most respectful obeisances to her. At the end of his prayers, he wanted to describe Srimati Radhika's pastimes with Sri Krishna, such as Rasa Leela, which are most worshipful. However, recognizing that such pastimes are extremely confidential, he did not describe them explicitly. Now there's a beautiful footnote here that we'll finish this commentary today anyway, but I'll read this footnote. Generally, the statement, Namo Nanta Lilaya, is understood to mean, I offer my obeisances exclusively to Ananta Lila Bhagavan, that Sri Krishna, whose pastimes have no end. However, directing his attention towards Sri Satyabrat Muni's inner intention and driven by his own personal bhav, Srila Sanatana Goswami has revealed a confidential meaning by the above phrase. He explains that the sage is actually offering his obeisances directly to Sri Rasa Leela. This is the crest jewel of all Krishna's pastimes. Here, take these. Take it. The word Ananta means that which has no limit or end. In other words, eternal, unending, or innumerable. According to Sanskrit's grammar, the word Lilaya is the singular fourth case of the word lila. This is a beautiful explanation here. Hold your ears back and listen carefully. It's very beautiful. Because it is conjuncted with the word namaha. The syllable li means to embrace. Li, to embrace. And la means to accept. Thus, the word lila is understood that the sage is saying, I offer my obeisances to Ras Lila and other pastimes in which Sri Krishna accepts the gopis' embraces. This is the meaning of lila, to accept the embrace. Krishna accepts the embrace of all the gopis. Isn't that beautiful? And it's just hidden in a footnote. That's why I wanted to read it. Therefore, in the above explanation, Sri Sanatana Goswami explains that Ananta Lilaya also refers to all Sri Bhagavan's pastimes in Gokul, and thus it is understood that the sage is offering his obeisances to all Sri Bhagavan's pastimes. In this way, Sri Sanatana Goswami has also made meaningful his own statement, Madhurena Samapayat, all should end sweetly. Here, one more point must be carefully noted. In his final verse of Damodarastakam, Sri Sanatana Goswami Pad is informing us that although Sri Krishna's pastimes, such as Rasa Leela, are the most exalted of all his Leelas, they are highly confidential and therefore not to be described directly. For this reason, Sri Satyavrat Muni has offered his obeisances to such pastimes by just hinting at them. By this, it is clearly understood that it is completely improper to hear and sing Ras Leela here and there, wherever and whenever one pleases. Therefore, if on the pretense of eradicating their lust, unqualified persons contemplate or imitate Ras Leela, even if only within their minds, they will commit the offense of diminishing its honor and sanctity, and will simply become degraded. Then, like the immature Prakrita Sahajiyas, they will become lusty and attached to sensuous lifestyle. Why is it saying like this? Because of what we said at the beginning of the class about this karma esha, krodha esha. This is the all-devouring enemy. And if it's applied in the material world, it's going to kill us. Now, how are we going to transfer that same conception onto the divine pastimes? You know? Simply by following the instructions and guidance of Rupa Goswami. In order to determine whether a person who desires to hear and sing Rasa Leela has the proper motive and eligibility, one must carefully study that has been explained at the end of the description of Rasa Leela itself, found in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Naitat samachare jatu manasapi hyanishwaraha vinasatya charan maudhya jadhya rudrodbijam visham.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-30. Those who are not Ishwaras, who are powerless and helpless, controlled by the laws of karma, should never imitate the Lord's pastimes, even within their minds, like a person who foolishly imitates Lord Shiva by drinking poison generated from the churning of the ocean. They will certainly be destroyed. What more can be said? This is not to be carried into this world. We are looking to the other world, to appreciate the other world, to hear from great personalities like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who gives us the thread. He gives us the Jaiva Dharma, shows us how to enter into that Astakali Leela in a proper manner. This means that if a person who is not truly qualified and competent, he should never contemplate, perform, or imitate Ras Leela, even within his mind. For example, when the demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk and poison rose to its surface, only Lord Shiva himself was capable of consuming that poison. So if an ineligible person pretends to be extremely qualified and hears and sings Ras Leela,
Which will act just like.
Sings Ras Leela, which will act just like poison for him, he will immediately die. That is, he will surely become entangled in the deadly grip of worldly life. It's fearsome. It's the enemy, Vairanyam. This verse. What is it? 327 in Bhagavad Gita. The greatest enemy is this lust, all devouring. So if, I just read that, right? Since Rasalila is the crown jewel of all Sri Bhagavan's pastimes, the fruit of hearing about it, singing it, and remembering it is the crest jewel of all attainments. Vikriditam brajavadubiyatam cha Vishnu, Shadanvito nushunyad arita varenyamya, bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya, karamam hridrak hidrodam. The last line, last. Karmam hidrak hidrogam. Vikriditam brajavadubi icham cha Vishnu. Achirena dira. One will become sober by this. For example, in order to dispel nescience, it is compulsory to attain complete knowledge by seeking the highest education in the universe. In a university. A kindergarten student, however, will not be allowed admission directly into the highest level of study. Similarly, it is inappropriate to impart the foremost transcendental teaching, the description of Rasalila, to an ignorant person who is attached to gratifying his senses. So always when the conceptions of Sachinandan Gaura Hari, who is our Shiksha, Bhajan Shiksha Guru, in Mana Shiksha is declared by Raghunath Das Goswami, he's our Bhajan Shiksha Guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is showing us how to conduct our lives. He would never even look at the face of a woman when he took the renounced order. He would never even converse in practically any time with a woman. He was so strict. He never accepted any type of sense gratification. Remember when they wanted to make a mat for him to sleep on because his bones were suffering just sleeping on the hard floor. And he rejected it. Finally, they made Swarup Damodar, he, with his nails, shaved banana leaves and made it into sort of like a quilt in a very rough kind of a way. And Mahaprabhu would accept that. Like when Jagadananda Pandit, he brought that oil, fragrant oil, to put on the head of Mahaprabhu to relieve him of this air. When the pran gets disturbed, you put the oil on. And Mahaprabhu says, what do you think I am, a dari, a masseur? You know, what will happen when I walk down the street and everyone smells me? Mahaprabhu came to set the highest bar. He rejected Junior Haridas Thakur just for looking at the niece of one old lady for a moment. Looked at her with attraction. As Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj said, don't let your gaze smear over the ladies. Don't let your lusty mood smear in a conversation with the ladies. It's a tangible thing. So Mahaprabhu rejected Haridas Thakur for a whole year. Then Haridas Thakur goes to Prayag and takes his life. And as soon as he does that, Mahaprabhu says, oh, where is that Haridas Jr.? Tell him to come now. Of course, he was forgiven. He's an eternal Parikar, Mahaprabhu. He came as a Gandharva, began to sing. So these are all examples from Mahaprabhu. So if always, when you're hearing Ras Katha, if there's a strong platform of Gaura Tattva to support it, then you can feel comfortable. But if there's no Gaura Tattva sewn into the presentation, it can become, your feet aren't quite on the ground, because who are you acknowledging the origin of being able to hear about this Rasa Tattva? It's only Mahaprabhu who is giving us this link to Rag Marg, to Braja Prem, to Prem Ras. It's Mahaprabhu. So always that acknowledgement must be there, and then the mercy will flow in a pukka way. But if it's just trying to enjoy the senses, because you often see the little children, they dress up and there's a mood of just, let's have a good time, you know. But if there's no Tattva Siddhanta with a mood of Mahaprabhu, very dangerous. So we come back to our text. Instead, according to the popular adage, did I finish that purport? Yeah. According to the popular adage, Madhurena Samapayat, all should conclude sweetly. He submitted his obeisances to Madhurya Ras through a slight hint with the words Namo Nanta Lilaya. Next, sage Satyabrat Muni says, Devaya, I offer my respectful obeisances to the playful divinity and to he who is supra-mundane, Sri Bhagavan. By mentioning Sri Damodar Krishna's divinity, the sage implies that all of Krishna's pastimes are similarly aprakat transcendental. They're all transcendental. Otherwise, since the word Deva is derived from Div, he who is ever rejoicing in playful sports, the sage says, O Deva, because you are eternally engaged in playful pastimes with Sri Radhika, I offer my obeisances to you, the performer of unlimited pastimes, Ananta Lila, unlimited pastimes. That's a Chintya completely itself. Unlimited. That's astonishing. There's no limit to his pastimes. They don't end. We have no experience in the conditioned world of anything that is unlimited. The ocean has a base to it. The sky, even we understand, is full of different planetary systems. It's surrounded by a circumference of all the elements, etc. It's one single Brahman, which is actually considered the rope that we're talking about today. Krishna's Brahman effulgence. Everything we see has limitations, is not eternal. But the soul itself is eternal. Never ending for the soul. That's a very wonderful meditation. We are never going to die. None of us. We can't. You can't. It says in Bhagavad Gita, the soul can't be cut, can't be murdered, burnt, murdered. Nothing can affect the soul. I've forgotten the verse, but it's a very beautiful verse. The soul cannot be harmed in any way. I think that's a comfort to appreciate. Otherwise, O Deva, because you are eternally engaged, yes, I offer my obeisances to you, the performer of unlimited pastimes, Ananta Lila. Here the word Ananta Lila certainly refers to all of Sri Bhagavan's pastimes in Gokul as well. Thus, yet another meaning of the sage's words is illuminated. I offer my respectful obeisance to each and every one of your transcendental pastimes. When I'm reading this, I'm thinking of so many things that could be layered on top of this also. But I'm just amazed at the profundity of these commentaries. They are so significant and such a gift from the Acharyas. This is from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who is going to inspire Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj to carry us through to the very conclusion of this. So tomorrow we will complete this final few pages of our Damodarastakam study. By the mercy completely of Srimati Radhika herself, Krishna, and all the Parikars, and our Guru Varga. So I'm very happy that we're on track. Oh, tomorrow also is the Tirobhav of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. So of course we will enumerate some of his glories and offer a Pushpanjali to the best of our ability. Great stalwart follower of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Joined the Mutt when he was very young, 24 years old. Oh, I've forgotten his name. Anyone remember? No. His original name. Paval something? No. I thought he began with LP. I can't remember his name. I'll remember it later. Anyway, we'll talk about him tomorrow. So Srila Pramod Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. So Damodarastakam Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He's just illuminated us with the tattva of the rope and the Brahmand and the associates connected, these three principles. And he's opened it right out. And it will take us some months and even years and the rest of our lives to really absorb all these meanings deeply. So it's ongoing. It's eternal. It has no limit. It's unlimited. Okay, Damodarastakam ki jai. Gold Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Rishabhananandini Vaja Shri Radharani ki jai. Shri Damodarastakam ki jai. Shri Satyabrat Muni ki jai. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Rupanu Guru Varga ki jai. Vaishnavas ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhu Vivacha. Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha.